how do I do a channeled reading and work with people one-on-one? I thought it might be just about time for me to share the what, the why, the who, and the how of how I work with people one-on-one, so you have a little bit more information about what a one-on-one session with me looks like. This will be interesting to you if you are feeling called to working with me and want to reach out, or if you are a person who is offering one-on-one sessions and considering branching out into channeled readings. Then you can learn a little bit about how I do it. And I will do a separate video about my human design readings and what makes my human design readings unique and what they include. So if you're interested in human design readings, stay tuned for that video, and I will put the link there as soon as it's ready. What is a channeled reading? In a channeled reading, I channel the Council of Light, which is a group of high dimensional beings who are really interested in helping us to express our unique essential self and to be of service in the world. When I channel the Council of Light, they'll give me information which sometimes comes in the form of words and just speaking directly from them. Sometimes it comes in the form of images or feelings or even just scenarios that I can then describe. But they'll often start off by giving me information about what I call the energetic signature of your essential self. So you can imagine that each of us comes into this world with a unique energetic signature. So it could be, for example, that you're very angelic, or that you have the essence of femininity as your energetic self, or that you are like a deep, deep well of presence and depth of wisdom. Or that you have a huge expansive aura, just like a Tony Robbins, full of yang life force. Or that you're like a fairy person in the forest, or a tree, very rooted and extending outwards with branches of knowledge. So there are very many different images and feelings that I get as information about who you are here to be. And this energetic signature is very useful to know because it's the energy or the vibe of what you're here to embody. And that can help you to go, design your lifestyle accordingly. It can help you understand your work differently, design a coherent brand according to who you really are. And usually when I share the energetic signature of your essential self with my clients, it's absolutely not a surprise. It's more just a real affirmation of who they are. Piggybacking on the energetic signature of your essential self, often the next thing that comes is perhaps something that might be stopping you from just being that. So the way I look at that is that we each come into this world with an energetic essential self, or a diamond of who we're here to be, and then we have layers of conditioning that goes over that might keep that diamond from being seen as the shiny, beautiful, polished stone that it is. And so those layers of conditioning need to be shed to allow ourselves to really be who we are. So for example, in one of my readings, the client was shown to be really the essence of femininity, a very soft, yielding, loving, gracious, beautiful being who had grown up in an environment that was hostile towards femininity. And so then had become a person who was always surrounding herself in very masculine and threatening environments. So we can, if we neglect to understand who we really are, we can then reinforce our conditioning with the surroundings that we allow ourselves to be in, and not give ourselves an ideal environment for our essential self to come through and to thrive. Sometimes just understanding and seeing the conditioning for what it is enough to shed the conditioning. And sometimes there's a deeper healing process that we need to go through in order to shed the conditioning. And I'm very skilled with body-centered transformation, and so I can, if it comes up, facilitate a process around healing and releasing the conditioning. After, we shed any conditioning that's keeping you from being your essential self, the next thing that tends to come through is about how to structure either your business or your lifestyle, your environment, in order to really create the environment for you to thrive as your essential self. And so if there's anything that's not in alignment with your essential self, then that becomes quite obvious, and we can see, oh, this needs to be adjusted about how I'm doing business, or this needs to be adjusted about my friends and family situation, or this needs to be adjusted about my lifestyle, this needs to be adjusted about my branding. There's tweaks that might need to come into play or want to come into play right now in your life that will allow you to more fully express your essential self. So in my work, I have always been fascinated with people's uniqueness. My business for many years was called Live Your Genius, and I coached people on discovering their genius, living their genius, leveraging their genius through a business structure that reflected their unique lifestyle and needs. And so then I moved into human design, where I did the same thing, help people clarify who they really are and then how to live according to their design. And now with channeling, I'm also doing the same thing. So basically all roads lead to Rome when it comes to me. My work is essentially about helping you clarify who you are and then how to be that in the world in a structure that really makes sense with who you are. So in my channeled readings, I do really like to just take a peek at least at your human design, and sometimes we even spend half of the session on your human design depending on just what seems to be arising. But for example, when I did this session with a woman who her essential self was the well, that was what came through in the channeling. When we later came and looked at her human design, the gate of the well in human design was featured very prominently in her chart. So her human design was affirming what we had already discovered through the channeling, which is, it's just so affirming. And I think this is something that I've been seeing so much in my one-on-one sessions, is that people come to me really just to affirm what they already know deep, deep inside. And maybe they haven't even quite admitted it to themselves, but the moment it comes through me, they say, oh, I've known this all along. And it just gives them permission to go for it and have a lot more confidence and clarity to go for it. So in essence, a session with me will marry the channeling with human design, with body-centered transformation sometimes, and practical next steps. Because when I'm channeling, I am also there. Karen is on board, and I sometimes will get a very practical idea about how the person can implement what's coming through in the channeling and the human design. And that's part of my gift, is really seeing the structure that makes sense with who you are going forward, and then how to take your next steps. So what you walk away with at the end of the session is clarity about your next steps, clarity about who you are, and more confidence to really go forward. Usually people will feel like, okay, I'm ready to actually take some steps and make some moves, and I know what to do next. Why people come to me is typically because they're embarking on some kind of transition, and they feel like whatever they've been living up till now is not quite working. It's not really a match or an expression of who they feel that they truly are, and there's something new emerging, but they're also not quite sure of what that something new is. And so there's this gap where there's some doubt, there's some lack of clarity, there's a feeling of stagnation maybe, uncertainty, and fear oftentimes. And so making that transition, like, how do I make that transition? What is on the other side? And how can I bridge this gap? That's typically my sweet spot with working with people, is really helping people to find the clarity and some of the practical necessities that will be required in order to make that transition. And so that people can really feel like, okay, I have what I need to go forward, to make those next steps, and I have the clarity and confidence and faith to do so. I am a catalyst in my human design, so I'm really good at just catalyzing a shift, and then oftentimes people will get what they need and then just go for it. Who does this work for? Well, typically I work with people who are more feminine than masculine. Oftentimes they're women. Entrepreneurs, I have an entrepreneurial mind. It's the way I think, and I think that's also because I value freedom. So freedom is a very high value for me, and it typically is a value that the people that are drawn to me also have. Which leads me to the next thing, which is a lot of the people who like to work with me are very lifestyle oriented, and they want to build a lifestyle that really honors who they are. I guess it almost goes without saying that I work well with people who are open to the idea of human design and channeling, and so they're not new in this sort of spiritual world. They're oftentimes people who are seekers, who have done quite a lot of personal work. But I also do attract some people who are very practical but also open-minded to the kind of work that I do. So how you can work with me is to go to my website and look under my readings. You'll see that I offer one-on-one channeled readings, which are an hour, and then I also do work with people one-on-one on a monthly basis, where they have 2 sessions a month plus Voxer support. If you don't know what Voxer is an app where you can basically walkie-talkie. So you can say, hey Karen, oh my gosh, you won't believe what just happened after we talked about this yesterday, blah, 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 this happened, celebrate, celebrate. Or, oh my gosh, Karen, I'm having the worst day. So it's for support between sessions where there's something that you don't want to wait before you share with me, and that I can just respond with a quick message, a quick insight to support you in where you're at. Pricing wise, I set my prices according to my intuition, and I'm balancing a message that I channeled which told me that I really need to have the investment for my one-on work be quite high, and also with my current comfort level. So I know that the current pricing is not where I want it to be, and it will be going up over time. What makes working with me worth it is if you are lacking clarity and you feel like there's something new and you want to move into it. Because especially if you're an entrepreneur, one session with me can just unlock what you need to be doing and then get you off and going. So what is the value of that? It could be worth thousands of dollars if you are stalled and your earning potential is stalled. It might be worth very little to you if you don't have a business, or if you don't even have a desire to contribute in the world. So the value really depends on where you're at and where you're going. Typically, another characteristic of people that I work the best with are people who are devotional, people who really truly just want to serve, and they're diehard about that. It's super important to them that they are serving their role in the world, and not serving in the way that they know they're capable of is gnawing at them. So having clarity about that is very, very valuable. So let me show you how it works when you actually do book a session. So when you go to my website, you'll see book now, and then it's using acuity scheduling. You'll see directly on the homepage, you can book a reading from here. And as you scroll down, there's a little description of the channeled reading where you can book. When you click the link to book, you'll be taken to a place where you can choose a time that works for you. And then there's just this little questionnaire that you fill in before we do the reading, and that gives me a little bit of background information. I do not offer refunds, so you need to know that you want to do this, and you can always ask me questions if you have any doubts before you register. And also, I'm not a psychic, so sometimes people have come to me just like, where should I live? When is my boyfriend coming? And I'm not into predicting the future, and the Council of Light really are much more interested in, and I am too, what is your purpose and why are you here and how can you make those next steps? The monthly one-on-one work with me is called Birth Your Body of Work. And that is where over time we go from clarity about who you really are to deconditioning anything that needs to be let go of to be who you are, and also stepping into the structures that most make sense to create the lifestyle that will allow you to thrive. And so that looks like coming up with offerings, your unique content, and also branding and all the elements of your business. Now, I do not consider myself a business coach, but I can't deny that I have a lot of practical ideas. So people that come to me typically just come to me to get the content ideas, the bigger brushstrokes ideas of where they are going, and then they might need to get outside support. For example, if it comes through that they need to create a successful Instagram, then they need like an Instagram coach or something else like that. So I really am very good at helping you very much get clear on what's your thing, how to like get the big picture of how you're going to bring it into form. So you apply for this just by answering a questionnaire, and then I receive it and get back to you. So that, my friends, is how I work one-on-one. I love my work. I am absolutely amazed at the people that have been coming to me through my YouTube channel. Thank you, YouTube. I am so grateful to the algorithm because it's magnetizing to me the exact right people who really need my thing, and it just goes so well, and it's so empowering. It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to meet you one-on-one if it's in the cards. Much love, and until then, see you again soon.